On this episode of the Cleveland Pulse.
You're off base. Shedeur is a fifth round project.
But it's like, all right, what if we're 1-5 after the first 6 games? Okay, we're on pace for a top 3 pick.
Listen, because I'm pissed, okay? I am pissed.
Cleveland Browns faithful, welcome back on into the Cleveland Pulse YouTube channel. It's Jeffrey here and Uncle Robert there. How are you doing today, Uncle? We're talking the end of the Browns preseason 19-17 victory over the Rams. How are you feeling? General thoughts off the top here.
Oh, what a game. What a game. We've got a lot to talk about. I want to talk so much about Mason Graham, Carson Schwessinger. I really want to talk about the defense. Like to talk about Myles Garrett and Denzel Ward. You know, I don't think we have much else to talk about, do we?
Oh, no, nothing. It's like the soap opera reality TV show. It's like the 60th season. It's like the 100th season of the Cleveland Browns franchise, also known as, General Hospital. So it's like, this is amazing. Like you turn on the soap operas and you get less action and drama in, reality TV than an off season with the Cleveland Browns. So yeah, I do too. I want to talk. I want to hit on the 9-10 performance. The 9 out of 10 completions for Flacco, 71 yards and a touchdown. He looked competent. Dylan Gabriel, 12-19, 129 yards and the touchdown. I described him as savvy when I was watching him. I think that's a good word for him. He looks poised. He looks good in the pocket. He looks serviceable, but you know how it is, especially in this media landscape, all eyes on Shedeur Sanders. A lot of controversy there. We're going to kick off the show with that. We're going to talk about the meat and potatoes of the operation. Of course, we're going to get there, but I want to start with this. I know there's differing opinions. I know that everyone's entitled, to free speech and their own thoughts, even if some of them are stupid, I'll believe it or not. So I want to start off with a little juxtaposition here. We got a couple of clips for this week's episode. I want to start real quick here with our good buddy Skip Bayless. Let's roll clip number one.
Go right ahead.
I'm about to unleash about Shedeur Sanders, brought to you by FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. I just watched what happened to Shedeur Sanders in the Cleveland Browns' third and final preseason game. And I'm outraged, I'm sickened, and I'm saddened. By the way, Shedeur continues to be treated in the National Football League now by those sorry-ass Browns and sorry-ass Kevin Stefanski.
So what's your initial reaction when you see something like that?
Well, you know how I feel. I really love Skip. I really think that he does a great job he gives good, solid insight. And he's really not looking for clicks, and he's not looking to stay relevant. He's just really trying to say the truth and try to be objective. That guy is so full of shit, okay? That guy is in left field, okay? First of all, Shedeur. Kevin Stefanski's racist. The Browns are racist. They're sabotaging the kid. What football game was that man watching? Okay? Because you don't have to listen to my breakdown or your breakdown.
Right.
You're gonna show us a former professional quarterback's breakdown and not a former Browns quarterback breakdown, because there is a former Browns quarterback that is also crying about the way that they're treating Shedeur.
Oh, God. He's another one. I didn't see his idiotic crap until right before we got on here.
Trust God, and I understand. I trust God. I love God. But come on, RG3. Let me listen. Daryl Ryder. Listen, Daryl Ryder said it the best. The Cleveland Browns they guaranteed money. They signed number 4.
Yep.
They basically sold their soul for they want a franchise quarterback that they sold their soul to the devil. So what in the world makes you or anyone else think that they're going to sabotage Shedeur Sanders, or they're racist? So why were they not? How can you call them racist to him?
Yep.
But yet you paid Deshaun Watson and his entire lineage of his family, but that wasn't racist. So,
generational wealth.
Generational wealth is an understatement. So Skip, I understand. Me and my nephew, we're trying to get clicks as well. But Skip, you were relevant 30 years ago with Jerry Jones and Tom Landry and Jimmy Johnson. But that's bullshit. You're off base. Shedeur is a 5th round project that the media, ESPN, they need to talk about. And sadly, here's the thing. Joe Flacco can come out and go and throw for 5 touchdowns, and all we're going to hear, oh, Shedeur was walking up and down the sidelines. Was Stefanski going to put him in? No, Stefanski's not going to put him in. But Stefanski's not racist. He's not. What do you think? Come on.
Well, I agree with you. And that's a good point. The racist claims are so funny. They had a quarterback room last year full of black quarterbacks, 1, and 2, you give the highest paid guaranteed contract in the history of the NFL to Deshaun Watson, who is also black. So at the end of the day, the racist claims, that's just bait, rage bait, clickbait. I don't even care about that. I don't even put weight or thought or anything to that, especially the Browns of all franchises. We know that there's been funny business in the NFL in previous years, and you got the Rooney Rule. We understand that. We're not saying that everyone is a Saints, especially we're not saying the Haslams are Saints running around in the NFL, but
we are the franchise that hired Hubert Jackson. I mean, we hired Hugh. I mean, really. 1 and
Joe
31
payroll for way too long.
So
plenty of instances.
Yes,
but my thing is the setting up, like the whole conspiracy theory, like people in dark cloaks and hoods behind the scenes, like setting this kid up to fail. Here's my point before we get to our second clip here. Okay, let's once again, just use your brain and let's move from point A to point B logically. Highly touted prospect coming out of college, has the name recognition, Deion's son, sells a lot of jerseys, makes a lot of money with the NIL, has a big social media following, relatively large ego if you're looking at it on paper, might have, there could be some problems there. He's a top pick touted in the NFL draft. Some people have him graded in the top 5, whatever it may be. Some people have him as a 1st round talent. Nobody 6 months ago, believe it or not, maybe even 4 months ago, had him as a 5th round selection. We could all put this out on the table and agree to this. Go ahead.
Okay. Eric Dickerson said that the entire league was told not to draft this guy.
Not true though. That's not true.
That's not true, right?
That's not true.
More BS, more clickbait, more crap. Okay, so it's absurd. Now, before you go to Chase, you see so many videos and why I agree that Kevin Stefanski did the right thing by not letting Shedeur redeem himself on the last drive, but not for the reason that he said or people are saying. And here's why. The last drive of the game, Shedeur wasn't going to redeem himself. He was shot.
Rattled.
He was rattled, okay? Let's not make it worse. But to say that, let's be professional and give Snoop Huntley some tape so other teams can watch him. Snoop has had an NFL career. There's plenty of film on Snoop. He doesn't need the tape. That was BS. Stefanski wanted and needed to win that football game, and furthermore, they needed to get into field goal position because something funny.
Hopkins.
Hopkins, and I'm telling you,
cut him.
But when Hopkins makes this team tomorrow, it's got to be something with Hopkins is very close with Andrew Berry and Jimmy Haslam. That is what my source, that is what my confidant in inside the clubhouse has said, that for some reason, and so that's the only reason why Hopkins could be on this team.
I'm actually going to
go other than the $5 million cap hit.
We don't care about that. $5 million. That's like, you know, that's $5 million. It's like, oh my gosh, just chump change. It's like $5 million could be on the side of the road. Deshaun Watson wouldn't pull over and pick it up.
To this outfit, right?
That's what I'm saying. And I'm going to go the total before we get to the Chase Daniel clip. I'm going to go to the total opposite side. I'm going to go so far. Usually I'm like middle contrarian. I'm going to go so far contrarian. Well, I don't even think it's contrarian, but I'm going to go so far the other way. I actually, if you're a fan of Shedeur Sanders, you should be applauding and thanking and commending Kevin Stefanski for how he's actually handled the whole thing. Not that he's racist, not that he's setting people up to fail, because look, to finish kind of my original thought, when you have a prospect like Shedeur that has allegedly a negative pre-draft experience that affects his value. I'm not saying any of this is confirmed. A lot of people go, oh, you know, he you know, the NFL didn't want him drafted. They're making calls. Who is this person making a call to every owner and GM group? Oh, don't draft them. Click, hang up the phone. Now we got to call Washington. Hey, click up the phone. It doesn't exist. This does not exist. So if you have a negative pre-draft experience, allegedly, and you fall in the draft, and you're Stefanski and you're Barry, and you know he has all this track record, and he has this history, and he has this potential ego, and he has this way about him, and his dad is who his dad is, you want to put this young man in situations where he might not be at 100%. He might not be totally advantaged. I'll tell you why. Number one is number two, but the first thing I'm going to mention is you want to see how he plays and how he performs. That's the first thing I'm saying, but that's actually number two in the sequence. Number two, but the most important aspect is regardless of how he plays, you want to see how he acts afterwards. You want to see how he acts after success, and you want to see how he acts after failure. He's a 5th round talent. This is not a generational quarterback prospect. And I understand that that's where the disconnect happens in the franchise, because the people who like him actually believe that he is. But we saw it this weekend. He played, a rookie. I tweeted this out. I said, a rookie played like a rookie. What's there to see here? There's nothing to see here. And the second piece of respect for Stefanski is imagine being him, and you've gone through 2 years of, hey, Deshaun Watson, I can't believe I'm saying this, but Deshaun Watson gets in this mode, and when a quarterback gets like that, taking, you know, sack after sack after sack on dropbacks because they're trying to play hero ball, it's dangerous for the quarterback.
Dangerous.
So Absolutely. Take him out of the game. There's no reason for this guy to get busted in half because he's trying to make a play with the ball because the offensive line sucks, or the wide receivers aren't getting open, or the running back can't pick up a block. So why would you want him to get busted up and be out for all year when he's still potentially, that's what's killing me. Oh, they're setting him up to fail, but they took him out of a preseason game. If he was setting him up to fail, he'd leave him in a preseason game all game and get clobbered, destroyed, potentially hurt, and then miss the whole year when he actually he still has a valid chance. Does he not have a valid chance still to play this year? This is what's killing me. There's still, you could trade Pickett, Flacco gets hurt, Gabriel gets hurt. He's right there.
With the Browns, for a quarterback,
nothing.
It happens every year. And here's the thing. The people were bitching, oh, he's playing his offensive line. They're used car salesmen and insurance salesmen next week.
What do you want?
But listen, the second half of the last preseason game, that's what you get. But when you watch, besides Chase Daniel's film, I've watched other film from guys that are smarter than us. And there was guys open. He held the ball too long. He had the wrong progressions. He wasn't seeing the guys. So you could blame the used car salesman, lineman, you could blame the wide receivers, but ultimately the kid didn't have it that day. Now you're right. He's a fifth round pick that is getting the buzz of the number one pick in the draft. We hear on ESPN, we hear nothing about Cam Ward, but we hear it's led off with Shedeur Sanders and Kevin Stefanski. What the hell he's doing with Shedeur?
You haven't heard more about any player this offseason than him. Him or people in legal trouble. That's about it. Those are your top two people. And again, it's like like math exists. The evidence is in the math. The transitive property equates. It's not like, and once again, these people, the voodoo conspiracy theorists, like, oh my gosh, like, the deep state is ruining Shedeur Sanders. Like, what was his problem in college? He held onto the ball too long and he took too many sacks. So it's not rocket science. You don't have to be an offensive coordinator, former quarterback, or head coach to figure it out. But apparently, if you have an X account, you're one of the smartest people in the world. All right,
Absolutely.
let's run this Chase Daniel clip, and then we'll talk, hopefully a little bit more balanced, even out, and then we'll go on to, who's actually going to be playing week 1.
Right? 1, 2, 3. Okay, when I say not a good look, I don't mean anything against Shedeur, right? Because look at this back view. There's nothing open. But you see him drifting back right here. Do you see the center and left guard? There's a spot there. Just push up in the pocket. If you're able to push up in the pocket, at least you can buy some time, because they were zoning him off. The Rams were zoning him off.
Now, here's my thing. Here, I got a couple observations for you before I give you the floor. Number one, former NFL quarterback, knows what he's talking about, is a lot more experience, has a lot more longer resume to speak on the situation than Skip Bayless. Number two, Chase Daniel, if you really think about it, if you're looking at it not with the Shedeur Sanders, rose-tinted glasses, Chase Daniel actually cares more and is looking out more for Shedeur's NFL football career than Skip. Skip is just on there using his name to elevate his platform, clicks, revenue,
Absolutely.
Profit. Chase Daniel's saying nothing against this guy because he understands it's tough to play quarterback in the NFL. It's probably the toughest position in all of professional sports. Yeah. And it's easy to have a bad day. That's what I get from that.
Absolutely. As a former player, and he knows Skip has never been in that position, right?
Never.
Chase, that was a 10-minute video that he broke it down, and I thought he absolutely nailed it, and he really made a lot of sense and made a lot of these other keyboard warriors look like idiots. One of them being a former Cleveland Browns quarterback, and the Browns don't owe Shedeur anything.
Yep.
He's a 5th round pick. He's got to work hard like anybody else. And he had a bad day. You could see it right there. He wasn't making the reads. What he was trying to do. Here's the way I'll end my part of this. Nephew, he felt Gabriel came out and did probably what Gabriel's going to do. He played a nice game. They're going to protect Gabriel and they're going to get him ready. Gabriel played a nice game. Flacco was excellent. Gabriel played a nice game. I bet Shedeur had it in his head. I have to go out and try to be legendary. Yep. I have to make plays here because I want to be on ESPN, and I want to make these guys have to make a decision here that I should be starting.
Great point.
He didn't have it, and he made it worse. That's what he did.
Honestly, that could be the real, look behind the curtain, because his first appearance, he was the first mover. Gabriel wasn't ready. So he didn't have anything. There wasn't a Gabriel bar to get to. And hey, look, healthy competition is good. It would be the most Cleveland Browns thing ever to have very little potential for candidates to be your franchise quarterback since 1999. And then this regime somehow lucks into both of them and we would have to make a decision. That would be very Cleveland Browns of us. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but I'm saying that would just be funny and ironic. And that's just kind of how it works sometimes when you're the Cleveland Browns. But healthy competition is good and fine. But when he was the first out there, Gabriel's on the shelf. He knew he wasn't going to be playing. There's no comparisons here. I could go out and play my game and go from there. I totally agree with you. I never really thought of it like that. Gabriel comes out, plays really good. They have him ahead of the depth charts. You start pressing, you start doing stuff outside of your normal thing. If you go out there and have an average performance, no one's going to get on your back in the preseason. We know that you're throwing to people who aren't going to make the roster. You know, we have people protecting you who are going to be unemployed the next couple of days. Totally get that. Totally understand.
Yeah.
Lots to talk about. That's 20 minutes of Shedeur Sanders. I get it though. It's ESPN. It's Fox Sports, it's everything. It's the talk of the town everywhere with this kid because he just brings that much buzz to the sport and that much buzz to the Browns. But
the bottom line, Dillon Gabriel is more mature as a backup quarterback. If I didn't love Kenny Pickett so much, I don't advocate for Gabriel to be the number 2 just yet because we see what it's done to guys in Cleveland. DTR is unemployed, but DTR obviously didn't have it. But Gabriel just is more mature and seems more prepared to handle the offense right now. And whether it's because he's taken it, he's not trying to play hero ball. And that's at the end of the day, I think that's what Shedeur tried to do, was be the hero.
And that's actually where I think we're going to come to our first minor disagreement is that I'm on board with if you want to get rid of Pickett and let Gabriel sit as the 2. I think I saw enough in the preseason, which seems crazy, but I think I saw enough in the preseason where I'd be interested and I would be okay with that being the move. He's a 3rd-round prospect. Obviously, you take 2 quarterbacks this draft, but the funny thing and how you just put it right there, I think Gabriel is preparing and understanding that he's not even that close to being a 1 yet. I don't think he would have, if let's say Flacco wasn't there, I don't think he would have won it over a healthy Pickett or maybe even an unhealthy Pickett. So I think he's preparing like a backup. He's making reads like a backup. He's trying to understand the game like a backup. And there's nothing wrong with that when you're not a highly touted quarterback prospect. And that's actually a better way to mature and grow and gain experience in the league instead of being a top 3 overall pick and being thrown to the Wolves week 1. And
but how much confidence would you be week 1? God forbid Joe goes down. Then you got 16 more weeks of Gabriel.
I would, but my thing is at this point, Uncle, the expectations are so low. It doesn't
matter.
It doesn't matter to me. Okay. If you had a 7.5, 8.5 win total line from Vegas where it's like, hey, you could sneeze and make the playoffs, I'd be nervous. But if they have us sneezing and barely winning 4 games.
Okay, follow me along real quick with this.
Please.
Here's what I'm not sure that the Browns believe that either of those 2 guys could be the future. I know Kevin really likes Gabriel. Nobody really wanted Shedeur. He just happened to fall. We know blah, blah, blah. So just hear me out. And I'm all on the Kenny bandwagon, but Kenny is only 27. Maybe they went out. Okay, they went out and got Kenny Pickett. Yep. So I am sticking to this. I am sticking to this because they went out and got him. So they did that for a reason. So hear me out. The Joe experiment goes as long as it can, and I hope that Joe, we get what we get. We'll talk about Joe. But Kenny may be the guy that in 26 is your bridge quarterback if they decide one of these 2 isn't the quarterback and they have to take a quarterback in 26. I don't necessarily agree with that because I think one of these guys can maybe do it. But they're already talking about Arch Manning, Nussmeier, and
that's
Aller.
Why I have to. That's what I'm saying. They have to. I'm on that. I'm a year ahead of you. I'm on that plan now because you have 2 first-round picks next year. So you might as well ship Pickett off. Like I said, it's not, you have a, believe it or not, and people won't believe it, but
who's going to play next year then? You can't play Nussmeier, Drew Al, or Archie.
Oh, absolutely. For week one, if you have a top three, because look, here's the thing. Here's what the Browns have actually gotten themselves into. Believe it or not, it's kind of smart. People won't believe that, and that's fine. And if you don't ever want to use that as a qualifying adjective for the Browns, I don't blame you. You're probably right. But the Browns are actually kind of smart because you got 2 stabs at a quarterback this year. There's Andrew Berry is what at the end of the day? He's a math nerd. He's a Harvard grad math nerd. Okay, he's sitting there in his office. How do we fix his quarterback position? Let's just get a bunch of them. Flacco back, Pickett back, draft 2 of them, and then you trade the Hunter pick for still getting Graham, and you got a first next year. He's literally just playing odds. So all right, but at my point now is that Pickett got hurt. You were hoping that maybe he could contend for the offseason to win the starting job. Flacco is really cheap, so if Pickett wins the starting job, you don't really care about paying Flacco. It would suck. The fans would be uprising, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, now you get rid of Pickett because you need to see how good Gabriel is as a 3rd rounder, and it's not like a 1st rounder. It's not like you're going to be coming under heavy fire like you would if it was a 1st round selection. And you have a first round pick next year, and you have the Jags pick next year. They have put themselves in a situation where nobody is hoping for this. Maybe they are hoping for. I'm not hoping. Maybe for a small percentage of the fan base of Shedeur fans who, if he doesn't play all year, they hope we go 2-15 or 3-14, wherever it may be. But you could turn around, and if you have a same season as you did last year, similar, and the Jags aren't very good again, you could have a top quarterback prospect, and you could end up with, like, God forbid, a Jeremiah Smith or something like that. And you could have a generational draft next year. You could end up with the top 2 picks next year, and you could go Manning or Aller, and then you could go Jeremiah Smith, and screw Pickett and screw Gabriel and screw Sanders, and you trot that duo out with Jerry Jeudy week 1, and you hope that Judkins isn't in jail, and you look like you turn around and you're like, this is a top 5 offense in the AFC on paper, and we know how on paper works. But you're telling me Manning, Jeremiah Smith, Jeudy, Njoku, Judkins, your offensive line,
are all
wheelchairs.
This is the last year of Njoku's contract.
Yeah, he's going to ball out. We're going to give him a big extension, fully guaranteed.
After another 3-14. So you mean to tell me we have to sit here for another 100 weeks?
I'm not telling you that.
3-14. I'm not getting any younger. And I'm telling you, and I understand the thinking. This is not the first time I've heard this theory.
It's a good theory.
With that theory, you're going to keep Dustin Hopkins because then you don't really want to win the close games, which will infuriate me.
I'm telling you, this first 6 weeks, this is why I'm actually on your side of the coin, where I think they're going to come out and surprise a couple of people, and they could end up 3-3 or 4-2 after the first 6 weeks. Call us crazy, whatever you want to do in the comment section below. But it's like, there's no pressure here. The people who are going to be staying on this team, all right, the players, if you're a real player, you don't want to lose, obviously. But I think Stefanski and Barry are locked in for at least next year, because they're going to have 2 draft picks next year, even though if you don't want Barry making the draft picks next year. But it's like, all right, what if we're 1-5 after the first 6 games? Okay, we're on pace for a top 3 pick, and okay, Gabriel will get to see what he gives us.
Unless Stefanski totally loses the lock, I mean, it would have to be something catastrophic.
I don't even think they care about that. I don't even know if he has the locker room. He's not. I think if you have a valid criticism of Stefanski, he's not a leader of men, and he's not an upper echelon leader of men. He's not your Dan Campbell's. Like, he's not your, and they come in all shapes and sizes. Like, he's not your Andy Reid. Like the Dolphins head coach, Mike McDaniel. That guy's not a leader of men. He's a goofy dude who's good with the clipboard. Being good with the clipboard, and the Stefanski getting fired, having a job in the parking lot, that is not the qualifier on that conversation. Needs to be, that's not a head coaching job. That's an offensive coordinator job, because I know who it would be. The Steelers would have him on the payroll in 5 minutes if we ever fired him, because Arthur Smith is a bum. And they go through offensive coordinators like we go through a quarterback. So it's not everyone's a head coach. Not everyone's a one. You've seen it. You run businesses. You're an entrepreneur. You're successful. Sometimes you're better at the 2. Sometimes you're more successful and you make more money and you're more impactful if you're the second or third person in line. Not everyone's the one.
He could be, though. He could grow into it.
He's two-time coach of the year. He's two-time coach of the year. He's won it twice in 5 years. He wins it every other year. He is on pace to win it. If he wins every other year, he'll win it this year.
Yep.
Because when they go 9-8 or whatever it may be, when they go 10-7, they make the playoffs. And they're like, oh, the Browns had a 4.5 win total at the beginning. All right, they give them the award, even though it's really not how the coach of the year should be given out. But all right, let's get to the rest of the box score here. Gabriel, like I said, I liked it. 12-19, 129 yards. He doesn't do anything stupid. Your son, of all people, said it best. Very sharp young man over there. He said, he's got a higher floor than Shedeur, and he has a lower ceiling. Shedeur's your boomer bust. He busted on Saturday, whatever that day was. Gabriel's going to give you Gabriel's like a relief pitcher that you bring in like the 6th or 7th inning. Like, just don't do anything stupid. Get a couple of outs. That's what I'm thinking right now. Flacco, 9-10. Okay. I think Flacco's going to be fine. He knows the offense. If they could keep him upright, if he could get rid of the ball, if he's not turning the ball over, which he will be. Flacco is basically Jameis Winston 2.0. He just is a little bit less, I don't know. He's hopefully a little bit more careful with the football, believe it or not. Yeah. Obviously, Sanders, he gets 14 yards. He takes 5 sacks for 41 yards. Some are on him, some are on the offensive line. We're not going to say that it's all the poor guy's fault. They spread the ball around everywhere else, obviously, as you'd expect. Amani Marshall gets the bulk of the carries, pure strong. I do agree with you. You said a couple weeks ago, the running attack looks more concerted. It looks more organized. I will agree with that. Thrash picks up 42 yards. Lavardian, 28 yards, and Njoku, good to see him out there. I didn't mind that at all. I know people were whining about, these starters, not worth the starters, not lose, Ethan Pochis is hurt. It's not worth losing.
You got to play him. You got to play him.
Soft. Who gives a damn? So we lose a player. We're projected for 4 wins. Gives a damn if we lose a player in the preseason. And then before I pass over to you, the pride of Bowling Green State University, Fannin Jr. hauling in that touchdown. Like to see it.
Absolutely. Okay. You did a great job of breaking it down. I think Flacco, of course, what we expected. He was in command of the offense. He looked sharp. Everybody has said his ball just looks crisp. When I saw him in training camp, he's the only one that took all the reps in training camp. And he just, for 40 years old, he just looks good. Now, how long can he look good? How long before the league? I mean, here's the thing.
Yep.
The league figured him out. Stefanski revived him. He was on the couch. Last year for the Colts, he sucked. Now, Terrible. Is that because Shane Steichen's offense, the Colts sucked? Maybe just Stefanski knows what he's doing with them. He could run this offense. We will see. But something I found funny, the way that it looked to me like Dylan Sampson is going to be your one. It looked to me like he may get the bulk of your carries with Jerome Ford being the third down back.
50-50 splits, I think. I think you'll see him hand the ball off to Ford a little bit too.
Now, if Pierre Strong, who got concussed, which as soon as he ran into that guy, I go, oh,
yes, I saw that too. He was like shaken up clearly.
Yep. So if as much as Amani Marshall is a guy who'll probably end up on the practice squad, you may look for the Browns to go out and bring in a veteran here. Cam Akers got cut today. Don't bring in. I don't want Cam Akers, but they're going to need a big back.
Talk about a fall from grace there. My word. Cam Akers was revered a couple of seasons ago, was he not?
Absolutely. Yeah. And Judkins, we don't know what the status is. They're waiting for the league to make their move. Now,
how about Pro Football Talk today put out an article? Judkins could go back to college. Give me a break.
Yeah, which he technically can, but that's asinine.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What as a quick aside here from because we have our fantasy football league. It shocks me, and I guess ESPN can do what they want. Private don't matter, but it shocks me you could draft Judkins in fantasy football. He's not in the league.
Yeah,
he's not signed. I don't get that, but so that's neither here nor there. Here's what I want to. I know you want to talk about this, so I'll tee it up for you. I got a couple of things on the defensive side of the ball because, of course. It's like, hey, are we going to hold our opponents to 17, 18 points a game, and then we're only going to be able to score 15 points a game? I really hope that's not the case with Flacco under center, but the defense looks like it could get to that level, where I'm interested and I'm I want to watch them play defense if the offense could stay on the field and, it's not 75% of the game our defense is on there. It just doesn't work. The math just doesn't work there. A couple of names for you here before you go. Number one, I expect a mildly large season from Alex Wright if he stays healthy. I think that's what you need. And two, probably the darling of preseason outside of Schlesinger, Aiden Huntington with 1.5 sacks on Saturday. Talk about if you want to win, just don't get me wrong, we're a long way away from winning AFC, winning the conference and winning the division, winning the Super Bowls. But if you want to really do something, you need a guy like that to emerge from a training camp and carry that into the regular season. Do you not?
Oh, absolutely. And if you have to have somebody that the offense has to guard besides Myles Garrett,
it's over.
It is absolutely it's. And here's the thing, nephew, we are going to average more than 15.6 or 15.8. We cannot be our offense cannot be as inept as we were with number 4 and Ken Dorsey. Is Ken Dorsey in the league? Is he in the UFL yet, or is he's with the Cowboys?
Guys just go out there and you think it's like slam poetry. Like the guys just go out there and they just run routes and they just end up in a space. Where is Ken Dorsey?
I think he's with the Cowboys as a position coach.
I'm Googling, is Ken Dorsey employed?
So
as a pass game specialist for the Dallas Cowboys. Talk about incompetent outfit to an incompetent outfit.
So on the defense, yes, if we could control the football, if we're not going 3 and out, turning it over, fumbling it, and the defense is not on the field for 45 minutes a game, I love the defense. I'm a little concerned about the secondary. The corners are a little thin. You may see us make that may be a waiver move tomorrow.
Mike Hilton. If you're not on the phone with Mike Hilton, I would be shocked.
Absolutely
savvy, especially that guy played for Pittsburgh, didn't he? And he knows the division. I would be shocked if we're not on the horn with him.
Why aren't they?
They might be, but I mean, maybe Hilton I don't know, maybe some, I don't know, who knows? Maybe they are. But yeah, I would say secondary helps. The Patriots were shopping somebody, Duggar. I mean, it's just like, again, that I knew that Emerson injury was bad when it happened, but like, man, that Emerson injury sucks because once again, is he a surefire home run, like grand slam Pro Bowler? No, but you wanted to see what he could do. And you thought that he had potential, especially his first year with us, especially that first year. We know Newsome is like a boomer bust guy. You get a good Newsome some weeks and you get someone who he's looking around and he's pointing at somebody. They don't know the coverage or whatever it may be. Ward is going to be competent, but he's fragile.
As long as he could stay on the field.
He's fragile. And then the front, and then the linebacker is going to be like, no one's saying that this defense is going to be surefire top 3 in the league. We're just saying it's got the skeleton, it's got the bones to be there. And it should be interesting, good to watch.
Listen, I picked him in our family league.
I know.
Because I think that now the Bengals game's going to be tough because Burrow is going to be hard to contain.
Oh yeah, we'll give up 30 points against them for sure.
They could surprise. I'm telling you. Well, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid this year. I think that they could surprise. And part of them surprising people is the defense. I think Schwartz's defense is going to be. I think they're going to be monstrous, especially with that linebacker. Man, that kid could be. He's. And here's another thing. Mason Graham. We hear nothing. Now I know he didn't play. He doesn't play a lot, but he's the number 5 pick in the draft. Our
very
overall
quiet
number 1 pick. We don't talk about him at all.
He's D tackle. It's very, you got to, if he's let's give Miles more than his career average. Let's just be generous. His career high. I think his career high is like 14 or 15 sacks. I know you have him for a big number this year, pizza money. I get that.
Yeah.
Let's say he has 16 sacks this year. I believe that would be a personal best. Let's say Graham has, I don't know, what's good sack numbers from a D tackle? 5.5, 6 sacks. Yeah. Like, is that too optimistic? Maybe. Let's say Alex Wright throws in similar amount. Let's say Tryon Troyinka gives you a couple. Huntington comes off, and shocks you. Mike Hall has a good year. You're talking probably the most combined sacks from this defensive line since the Stefanski regime and era took over.
Oh, that'd be great.
Quite comfortably, I'm thinking. So you have to see it to believe it. If Graham is, like you said, if you can't double team, and this is a little bit of the disadvantage, I think, of playing in the North, because you still have to play against Lamar Jackson a couple of times a year, but it's like Burrow is he's not a statue, but he's not overly mobile. If this, and the Steelers and the Bengals can never seem to figure it out. The Bengals don't double team Miles anyway, so I can't wait to see this shit week 1. And the Steelers can't really figure it out against Miles either. Rodgers is not gonna, if Rodgers is upright week 6, that is not going to be a good matchup for them if all of our guys are ready and clicking and they're ready to go hunt. So, Rodgers is a liability. Burrow's been getting clobbered all preseason. Like, this dude's out there risking life and limb for a preseason, and we know that offensive line stinks. More respect and power to him. But let's transition a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about this week 1 game before we wrap up.
Real quick, let me say this one thing. I expect Myles Garrett to play every game like his ass is on fire. For what he did to us on Super Bowl week in Radio Row. And then listen, because I'm pissed, okay? I am pissed. If I would have been there night 2 of Morgan Wallen, I wouldn't have been going nuts. I was happy to see Kid Rock forget
the PR
politics.
Tour.
Yeah, but I would have not been so happy to see Garrett.
I agree with you.
Because I'm pissed, okay? You say I'm not playing for the Browns, blah, 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 blah. I don't care about going to Canton. I want to go to the Super Bowl. And then all of a sudden you make an ass out of yourself and an ass out of the orange and brown.
Still gets a big paycheck, but
and here's the thing. We give a shit about the orange and brown a lot longer before you and after
way
you.
After. Oh yeah.
So we expect you to play like your ass is on fire for 17 games. And that's why I put that little pizza money on over 23.5. Will it happen? You know as well as I do. He's probably going to
be mailing it in. Imagine for 1-5, he's mailing it in. He already got his money. That's the problem with these guys. And I get it. There's the fine line of just, let's talk, if you want to dive into morals a little bit, there's a fine line of being paid what you're worth and what you're valued at and not being an ass about it.
Right.
Someone said on Twitter a couple weeks ago, who are the top 3 most beloved Cleveland athletes right now? They're arguing Donovan Mitchell and Jose. I said, well, Jose is always going to get the nod for me. No disrespect to Donovan Mitchell. Myles Garrett was a top 3 guy, with still a bevy of issues 12 months ago. Don't forget, swinging helmet gate and speeding ticket and rolling the car. Like, hey, you're still settling speeding tickets in court today, by the way. But it's like, look, you go through all this hoopla and these obstacles, stuff like that. At least Donovan Mitchell, if anything came out about him, that was under the radar and likely false that he didn't want to. And then he signs an extension. Like Donovan Mitchell did it the right way. Jose Ramirez probably did it the wrong way the other side, because the Players Association calls him like, what the, and his agent's like, what the hell are you doing? Jose Ramirez is eternally enshrined. When you're a Cleveland sports fan and when you're a part of people that follow this organization, you need a guy like Jose Ramirez. That is what gives you life and breathes hope into your city when you can't recruit people and your cheap ass owners don't want to give you a bunch of money. So that's where we're at.
Yep.
But let's talk week 1. We got an off weekend this week. They you give all this time off. You only get 3 preseason games, and then you get a week off, and half the people don't play in the preseason games anyway. And then September rolls around, and here we are. We got the week 1 game against the Bengals. I want to touch on this really quickly before we wrap up here because I think it's pertinent, and it's in the news cycle today, so that's always good. But they have finally agreed with their star defensive end Trey Hendrickson on an extension. Not really an extension, though. It's really just a raise for this season, $30 million rework contract. It's a $14 million raise, and he goes $30 million for this year, and he still expires at 2025. So I'm reading this as, from an outsider, I'm reading this as that they wanted to pay him. He was sick of not of not having a deal, and he's a grinder and he wants to win football games. So he's like, hey, I'll take the raise now. And then he's probably walking next offseason if I had to guess. This affects week 1 big time. It's not like you're planning like he's not going to be there, but it would have been interesting if he wasn't. You've seen people hold out and hold in before. So this gives them, maybe a little bit of juice, gives them a little bit of help in the locker room. Oh, Hendrickson's back. He's probably their best defensive player by far. And it's a little different wrinkle for week 1.
They're, first of all, the Bengals, the Brown family, no disrespect, but they are cheaper than the Dolans.
Way cheaper.
They'll make their players
can't be cheap in the NFL.
If they go to the Super Bowl, they got to pay their own way. I really believe that even with Hendrickson, their defense, as bad as it was under Lou Anarumo, who is a good coordinator, who just he had, talk about playing left-handed. He had both hands tied behind his back. They just, Zach Taylor wants to go out there and outscore you.
That's it. And not double Myles Garrett, apparently. He's another one. It's like, if you don't have Joe Burrow, that guy's unemployed a couple years ago. Oh, he's not a good head coach, my opinion.
No, he's an offensive coordinator who that offense is built for Joe Burrow and Joe Burrow only. So you got to have and I don't know who their backup is now, but you got to have somebody like Joe Burrow that could run that offense. And I mean, you talk about a
Jake
franchise
Browning.
Player. Yeah, I remember him. Okay,
they have Desmond Ritter actually too, believe it or not.
I thought Ritter was who was battling for the job in New Orleans. Oh, Spencer Rattler.
That's the other one. Yep.
Yeah, that's we'll touch on that rumor real quick at the end. But the Bengals defense is atrocious. Their offense. Listen, Chase and Higgins are going to put up huge numbers.
Yep.
The 2 running backs are their offense. How do you stop them? Okay. You've got there's issues all over the field. They're going to score. You just have to hope. It's almost like playing indoor football. You got to hope to get 1 or 2 stops.
You got to hope they make a mistake.
And then listen, we never talk about the middle 8 with the Browns.
Nope.
The Browns are never smart enough to defer and then score with the first half winding down, get the damn ball coming out in the second half and score. We're never smart enough to play strategic football.
You got to be able to make field goals for that to, be plausible too. So it's like, you got to be able to make, he missed another one. Did he not miss another one on Saturday? And what did I tell you? Kick. I'm sitting there looking and I don't even know. I don't even remember if I think it was a PAT. I think it was the Gabriel drive. The first Gabriel drive, PAT goes like, it's like this far away from the upright on a PAT. I'm like, dude, what is happening here? This is crazy. I agree with you. If you got a short leash with that guy, let's say, God forbid, he loses you the week 1 game, just cut his ass. Just let the younger guy play. It's fine.
You can't. I don't think you could. I don't think we can afford to let him start the season on the roster. The yips have been going on for too long. And here's the thing. This Schmidt, I think he's a Lou Groza award. Tomorrow, we haven't talked about the 53-man roster, but tomorrow, 4:00, you could look on 10 after 4. There'll be a list of kickers that the Browns could pick up. That
call
will
up
be,
the Australian Rugby League.
That will be more than serviceable. Trust me.
All right, Uncle. We're 50 minutes in here. We talked a lot. I know we gave a lot of airtime to Shedeur Sanders. There's really, I believe it or not, I'm fine with covering him because unless he has some off-field issues or somehow he ends up playing in the regular season, I'm not sure how that happens. We're probably not going to be talking about him as that's the good thing that I'm looking at here. This is the positive side because it's like we're only talking about him because he's getting reps. He's done getting reps now. So unless he has PR people ginning up stories, unless he's making controversial comments in interviews or Mary Kay sit downs with Mary Kay or whoever it may be, you like he's out of airtime opportunity. If he's live streaming on Twitch 5 days a week and saying Kevin Stefanski's, I don't know, an asshole or I don't know. There's a lot of stuff he could do, but it's probably not going to happen. So I'm fine with giving him airtime. We talked a lot about who excelled on Saturday, who we're interested in seeing. I really am very pumped up for Huntington. That guy looks like a stud, as you said before we started rolling, I believe, or even in the episode. That's why you got rid of Briggs, is because he has come on this preseason. So a lot of interesting stuff. Week 1 will tell the tale. And we're going to talk. We got a lot of time to talk about it. We got a lot of time to do a preview, which we'll
break that down next week, right? We'll break down week 1. And I think we know my prediction already, but I'll give you right now, real quick. It's still 5.5. Take the Browns into 5.5 because I think that line's going to move. I think that nobody outside of Cleveland and maybe nobody outside of my house has bought the Kool-Aid besides me and maybe my son, or maybe he's just placating me. But
that's a home opener, and we're 5.5 point dogs. I guess
5.5 point dogs.
Did that move with the Hendrickson news or not really?
No. I mean, maybe, but I'm telling you, it's going to steam. I think it's going to steam. You're going to see Browns money coming before kickoff.
You're going to see it get closer to a field goal. Okay, yeah. I believe. I hear you're sharp. You understand reverse line movement and everything. I'm not. 5.5 is a lot, but my thing is, and we'll talk, like we said, we'll break this down. We'll talk about this more. How sharp do you look? Do you have the false starts? Do you have the illegal procedures?
No.
That's what I'm looking for. I'm not even looking for results in week 1. I'm looking for processes, because if your processes are good, you're going to win the game, or you're going to play competitively, and Bengals are going to play. There's not, hey, look, and believe it or not, people don't think like this because it's the Browns, and either most people think we're going to be bad. Some people think we might be all right, but it's like, hey, there's nothing wrong with losing a week 1 game if you did everything right and the Bengals play better than you and it's a 24-23 game. It's like, can you just not be a laughingstock? Can you not be unprepared? Can you not do stupid shit? And can you just play a good football game? Those are my prerequisites.
That will not happen because this team has more focus. They are prepared. Last year, the offense was not prepared. Watson did not practice. He wasn't paying attention. He did not know the plays. The offense was not. Nobody was
Ken Dorsey.
Nobody knew the verbiage. So that's why they didn't know what the hell they were doing. Literally, you will not see that this week.
I got a question. This is a question I think that maybe I'm just haven't read up on it, but who's calling plays this year? Is Reese calling plays?
I think I see Stefanski on the sidelines, and I'm pretty sure it's a collaboration with Stefanski on game day.
You got to think if Flacco's a starter, Stefanski wants the reins, but allegedly that wasn't. Dorsey was a scapegoat last year, so I'm going to put that to the side, but I'm just curious. That I feel like that's a huge talking point with this organization every year, and it hasn't really been talked about. Too busy talking about Shedeur Sanders, but it'll be interesting to see. All right, Uncle, before we sign off here, any final thoughts?
We're going to break down week 1 next week. My final thought, and I just think it's a funny rumor, and today it's just coming across, the New Orleans Saints, who are a terrible outfit, there's been some buzz about them trading for Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
Now, financially, I mean, their owner has the money, and I don't ever see it happening. But if they traded for him, I would probably fly to New Orleans and buy. No, I'll send that guy roses. But that's a funny rumor that it's coming out of New Orleans today. Because here's the thing, is you saw him on the sidelines Saturday, up and down the sidelines with his Browns hat on. He's behind Stefanski, and he's there, he's present, but nobody talks about him.
Perfect.
It's the elephant in the room, though. Eventually, they're going to have to address him. That's it.
It's funny because it's like, who can you even find a roster that's desperate enough for him? And it's like New Orleans. I thought that answer would always be no. The NFL continues to amaze. Like, yeah, that quarterback room in New Orleans is like pretty bad, like even with Shah. So
Yeah.
there's probably no movement on him because there's wait for his
They're
contract.
terrible.
He's hurt and it's whatever. Somebody might be stupid enough to do it, but yeah, interesting enough. Okay, a lot covered this week. Sanders, roster talk, a little bit of the Cincinnati Bengals preview. We'll have more in the future coming up. Appreciate you guys being locked in with us here. Hitting that like button, comment down below. Make sure you subscribe. Share this with 3 of your friends. Hey, these guys talk Browns. They're ranting on and off about Shedeur Sanders. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. And we appreciate you being the pulse of it all. Peace.